Something else I noticed, the hole in the front plate for the display is the wrong size. It's all flopping around. It's about 1/8 of an inch too big. You can probably sort that by gluing a piece of metal on the inside. So I'm cleaning everything and boxing it up as I go, so that it makes assembly fairly straightforward. Good thing about this is you don't have to worry too much about the fixings, because it seems to be arbitrary. They use whatever they've got at the time. Like bizarre mixture of screws and depth and length, but they're mostly M4 and M5, which is fine. There's nothing exotic there. Well, that's the encoder ring fixed. Just a simple job of taking the magnet out and gluing it in square. It took longer to take the old glue off than it did to do it properly. I must have just thrown it in. Oh, with the motor off, it's a similar story to everywhere else. Very, very dirty. Nothing untoward here though. It looks fine. The motor housing is terrible. It's rusty. It's just got a funny sort of like a salt. It just looks awful. So the motor needs to come off, and that needs to be cleaned up. It all just needs a real good clean. I'm not going to remove any of this. I can paint around that, and I'll just mask that up. It's just too much like hard work at the moment, and I don't see anything actually wrong with it. The bearings are sealed, so there doesn't seem to be any play. It all seems to be quite nice and revolving freely, so we'll leave it at that. Well, this is the motor housing, and it is truly horrible. I think the first thing we're going to do is degrease it and then deburr all these razor sharp edges so we don't cut ourselves, and then decide what I'm going to do to clear this rust up. Looks like it's been left out in a field, and this is sand. This is casting sand that hasn't been cleaned off. It's pretty grim. That's the first bit done, the motor housing. It's all been cleaned up with a wire wool and given a coat of wax. It's never going to be pretty, but none of it's on show. It's more important that it's just clean. All the sharp edges have been removed. It's been deburred, so it's clean and it's protected. No, it's good to go. Well, that's all degreased and ready for more work. And the first thing that needs to be sorted is they seem incapable of getting panels straight. The same problem we had with the motor top cover. It's straight down there, but as it comes up, it's got a big dip in it. It's just been welded. It's been welded like that. Holy shit. So the only thing we can do is rub that down, and I will just, because this goes up against the casting, I will just fill that and feather that across so the part that you see looks straight. Makes no difference to the performance of the part in any shape or form. It just offends my sensibilities. So we're going to put it right. The electronics box has been filled, so that is nice and straight now. Just add a coat of primer, and we'll get that painted later on today. And in the meantime, dismantled the head as much as I'm going to. I'm not going to touch the bearings, I'll just mask that up. this is one of the reasons it's really good to dismantle a new machine. There's lots of thick grease, but it's actually dirty. There's not quite grit, but it's not the nicest stuff. So I'll clean all that off and put fresh, good quality grease in. And you can see that there's lots and lots of grease here, but this is absolutely bone dry. Nothing in here at all. Just a little bit of grease where the cogs engage, but apart from that, absolutely dry. Same in the housing. So it's worth doing to make sure that, you know, everything is properly lubricated. Then you know you're not going to have any problems in the future. Now, I'm not an expert on grease, but this looks like a heavy duty sort of axle grease mixed with rust and dirt.